So just kind of bear with me here. There's 4 players, and you draw 13 tiles. And it says, see, wait, hold on, it's the capture maker. So it says this is your hand. So welcome to the Mahjong session. Basically, 4 people play this game. Wait for person to smile. Yeah, 4 people play, and you start out with 13 tiles, and the goal is to basically create a hand that will let you win. And I'll describe what creating a hand that will let you win mean. But so the game goes like it goes counterclockwise. Wait, hold on. Does this capture my cursor? Okay, it does. Just make sure. You counterclockwise, and each person draws a tile, and so that will make you have 14 tiles. And you have to discard something in your hand into your pool right here. This is your pool. And you just keep going, draw and discard, because you be able to have a hand that could win in this way. Basically, just think about it, drawing and discarding, and there's the pool. Okay, starting the tutorial over, because I feel like that it gets more, it's easier to understand when you know that there's 4 people playing and there's drawing and discarding. So, there's a bunch of different tiles. So there's mon tiles, which are the number tiles, and there's pin tiles, and bamboo tiles, or soul tiles, and then there's the wind and dragon tiles. And in Mahjong Soul, they have the little thing up here to tell you what they are. And so there's 4 of each tile, so think of it like cards or something. Like, I don't know, the cards have different, like 4 different of each number or type. So there's 4 of each one of these tiles. So there's like 136 tiles in this game. And so just know that these tiles exist. It's easier to know when you play the game, but there's basically 3 suits that are man, pin, soul, and then there's wind and dragon. And when I said earlier about winning a hand, so you start out with 13, and every turn you draw a tile, so you get 14 tiles. Then you discard something. So there's the pool, like I gestured with my mouse. And so every time you have to try to win by drawing and discarding and making a hand that could win, which we'll show you later. But first you gotta know what types of terms, or what these terms are, basically. So actually, let's go back first. So you have to arrange you have to basically have groups of tiles. Hello, Tech. You basically have to have groups of tiles that are 4 triplets or sequences. So 4 groups of 3, then a pair. So your groups of 3 can be triplets. So like how here it says 4 or 3, 7 pin, and or 3 east. Or sequences, which are like 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 7, like just any sequences. So you need 4 of these groups of 3 and 1 pair of any tile. So when I said earlier how you win a hand, basically you're trying to get groups of 3, either sequence or triplets, and then a pair. And so when you're drawing and discarding, you have to decide what you want to keep and what you want to discard. And it gets kind of complicated later on. But see here, in this little thing, how this hand has 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 7, and a pair, and also this triplets of green dragon. So that's the basics of it. Of hand, like winning, you just have to have 4 groups of 3 and a pair. But I'm trying to think. So if you have 1 more tile to win, and you can probably see this in when you play the game. When you have 1 more tile to win, that's considered tenpai. And so I'm gonna be naming. So it's whoever gets it first. So you're basically trying to create a winning hand faster than anybody else does, and there's more rules to it, but that's basically the gist of it. You're just drawing and discarding and trying to make a hand faster than everybody else, but also like having a hand that's worth something, because hands are also have points. So I'll show. So we'll do a little quiz. So what does this hand need for winning? So there's 2, 2, and then 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This is a quiz for the chat. Yeah, Lee. It's like there's different ranks and different points for whatever hand you have. So basically like a pattern and stuff. I wait for A, B, or C. We do the quiz. Like I said, like sequences, triplets, or and then one pair. Yes, it's 2. Because 2, 3, 4 would be the last think tile that you need to win. Because you already have this pair here, 3, 4, 5. This needs either a 2 or a 5. So you need 2 or 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. A3V, thank you so much for the raid. We're just learning Mahjong right now. Okay, what about this one? So I won't handhold you this time. It's going good. How are you, A3V? Just jogging class. We do a quiz time. So 1, 2, 3, pin, and then 4, 5, 6, pin, 7, 9. That's 3 sequences. And so there's 3 ones, which makes you kind of think that that's the last one. Like that's the last group of 3 that you need. But it's the 3, because you can have this 2, 1 right here, these 2 1s still, and then your final sequence of 3 is 1, 2, 3. So for the part of the triplet can also be part of a duo, it depends. I think that you can't really do that, because you can have part of a sequence that could be part of a duo. Like if this, okay. See how here this 1, 1, 1 is a triplet? So if you add this 3 here, this 1, 2, 3 is a sequence, but this would be the pair. Like you can't have another triplets because you're already using that tile for the triplet or the sequence. So it can be so you only each tile can only be used in one group basically. So we were talking about values earlier. So they're called, so basically yaku means like a specific pattern of tiles. But basically think of it as like your win condition. So it's kind of easy just to do it that way, this way, like trying to think of. So it's kind of easy to get like just a bunch of pairs and a bunch of triplets, but they kind of have to have a value. So you have to have a hand that is worth something. I'm gonna go back and do this again, just because I wanted to show you. So call it a yaku, yeah. So it's like your win condition basically. It's like basically you cannot win in Mahjong unless your tile has any kind of value in it. Because like you can make like a hand, like how in this example, they have like 1, 1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 7, and then 2 souths, and then 1s over here. So I'll get into why this isn't worth anything later on. But basically, they put themselves in a situation in that their hand is basically worthless because they don't have a Yaku. And there's like a list of Yaku that you have, so a list of wins conditions. But we'll just don't worry about it right now. I'll get into later why this isn't valuable, but just remember that you have to have something that has a value. And there's some simple ones that you can remember as a beginner. So Yakuhai means your hand has. So even if you play a crappy hand before other people, you can't win. Yes, you can't. You can't win if you're under certain conditions. So one of the conditions is not having a Yaku. So I will get into this in a bit. I will go back to this example. So one of the values, so one of the things that allows you to win. So I'm trying to think of how to describe this. So your hand will have value if you have a Yaku. So Yakuhai basically means if you have any of these triplets of dragon tiles, then you can win. Because it's one Han, so it's one. So prevalent wind is whatever round it is. So usually Mahjong has 2 rounds. So they call it Hanchen, but there's 2 rounds. There's East and South round. And but usually in Mahjong Soul you only play East, so you don't really have to worry about the South round. It's just basically a second counterclockwise rotation. But and you also have seat wind, which is basically where you're sitting at. So whatever is right here on your Mahjong Soul thing, you're like west. So if you're west, say for example you're west, your seat wind would be west, and you would have a point because you got all of the west. And same if you had the east and you were in east. It's just called Yakuhai. It's pretty simple, but it only gives you 1 point. But it's something that's easy to remember. You're like, oh, I get all the dragon tiles that are red, and it's pretty easy to get if you're looking for it. That's one Yaku. So does that mean it's worse to be on the east seat because you don't have 2 options for wind, only the seat and prevalent one? So kinda. It's not really worse, but I feel like, in my opinion, when that was weird because nothing happened. It just randomly said disconnected. But yeah, so basically, it's not worse, but it's something to think about if you want to get the east and your east. So so this is just a simple Yaku. It's just one point, and it's easy to remember. Just any of these dragon tiles or your prevalent wind, which is right here, or the seat wind that you have. Tanyao is one that I recommend for beginners a lot. It basically means all simples, which means that you can't have like 1s or 9s. So you can't have one man or 9 man, 1 so or 9 so. Pin, sorry, and then 1 and 9 so. And then you can't have any of these wind or dragon tiles. So basically you just eliminate all of these that are in your hand, and you have 1 Yaku basically. Like that's a win condition. You just don't have any of these, and you have the triplets and the groups of 3 in pair, and you can win. That one's also very easy to get. And I say that these are easy because it's only like one small thing that you need to make your hand worth something. And so you get less points for just having these ones in your hand. And but they're good for beginners if you want to learn just like how to play the game. They're good to remember. And also if you're like in a pinch and you don't know what to get, these are very good ones to fall back on. Another one is Richi. So they did not explain this at all. This is why I'm glad I'm explaining it. So, going back. So when you draw and discard, say like I discard something, like I discard, or we'll use this. Yeah, just Richi is one Yaku, which is why I'll go into that later. But say this person to my right dropped one of bamboo, one soul, and I need that for my hand. Either a triplets or a sequence. Well, actually, let's say triplets for this one, because this is the example. But say I need it for my triplets, I can call it from them. So I can use that triplets in my hand. So I'm trying to see how to explain this in a different way. Basically, like if you throw down a tile, it's kind of a free-for-all for anybody who needs it. So for a triplets or a sequence, but not a pair, unless the pair is what they need to win. And so when I said that this has no Yaku, remember we talked about Tanyao, which is all simples. So this is not all simples if you have this. And they also don't have a seat wind or a round wind, because this is south and they're west. So they're not all simples, and they're not in like a east wind, and they don't have any dragons, so they have no Yaku. If they didn't call this pawn, like if they didn't call the other person's tile, then they could have done Richi, which basically is kind of like throwing down 1,000 points and being like, I'm gonna win this without changing my hand at all. And so you'll be forced to draw and discard any tile that you get until you get your winning tile. It's easier to see in the game, because that description can be a little confusing, but Richi is basically like saying like, hey, I'm gonna win this next one, and also your hand isn't on the outside. So when that person, oops, when this person calls to get this triplet, their hand is technically outside. So when you call reach, basically you're saying like, my hand is completely closed and no one can see it, and I'm gonna win this, and that's technically your win condition. You're like, I have everything I need, and I didn't have to call off of anyone. So if this person didn't call this and they randomly drew this last one, yeah, it's very bold, because you lose, or you bet 1,000 points, but you get some very good bonuses if you do that. So if this person kept this 2 1 bamboos and pulled this in, they could like have a fully concealed hand and win this way. So that's one thing. So just keeping it fully concealed and not getting one from anybody else. And that also includes Kan, which I will describe later. So let me do a quiz. Which one is a Yaku? It is very burst Sansei. We take a quiz. We got Thumbtack saying it's Ton, because he knows what the what the thing is, and he's right. Yes, it is A. Oh, 1 second, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. It is A. Yeah, because it is the round wind, and also your seat wind, so you get 2 points for that one. So what tile should you discard if you want to achieve Tanyao, which is all simples? And yes, Ton is east. Yeah, so for that last one, you do have Yakuhai. Yes, it is A, because it is a terminal tile, which is one. Yeah, exactly. So 101 or 9. That is right. No, it's okay. We are learning. And plus, I'll know that you thought from it. So I already described this. So here, chi is basically calling off of someone for a sequence. So this person dropped a 7 and they needed it, so you get called chi. And that's only for the person on your left side. You can't do it if anybody else right here does it. And you don't have to really worry about it in Mahjong Soul or any other Mahjong game, because they usually just do this little pop-up and you can select if you want it or not. But for pawn, it's kind of a free-for-all for anyone can call pawn, which is calling a triplet. So these 2 9s, the person across from them dropped a 9 pawn, and you can call it and put it in your hand. But this person, if they called it, they would not have a Yaku. So that's something to think about. If you don't have to call off of everybody, you have to think about if your hand is worth anything before you grab it first. And kan is if you already have 3, and since there are 4 tiles in each tile, so like there's 4, 6 mon and everything, you can call kan, which is basically having 4 of them in your hand, and that doesn't really affect the 3 groups, or the 4 groups of 3. It counts as 3. It's just the fact that you got the 4th one. It's not gonna like be like, oh, and now you need you need to take one away. It's just adding that 4, and it's a kan. And the benefit of doing that, you can call kan off of other people. You can call for that 4th one if you already have 3. The benefit of that is that, well, I'll describe in a little bit, but there are some benefits to that, and there's some cons to that. So we'll do a little quiz on chi, pawn, and kan. To the following hands can chi the 6 from the last player. This one is kinda easy. I wonder if we can do polls in this. Well, there's not that many people here, so it's... But next time, if I do a lesson or something, I'll do a little poll. Dorito? Yes, it is A. So that's chi from the last player. So pawn, these are kind of like, I feel like y'all know this by now. Because you know how to complete them. But I'll do it for fun. I'm doubting A because it's been an A every time. Yes, it is C. Okay, then that's their ending of the rules, but I think that there are some other ones that are important to know. Let me take out the... Where did I put it? Here it is. And then I drag... Oh. Let me move the chat. Move the chat somewhere here. I had to change it to black earlier because I was like, oh, this is a white background. Okay, so there's other Yaku that are important to know. Like, you know now, Yakuhai, which is having the dragons or the seat wind or your round wind. And you also have no all simples, and you know Richi, which is a closed hand, no calling off of anyone else. Here you can click, and they have other Yaku that you can learn, and you can learn them like kind of slowly. I mean, like they're not going anywhere, but you see how like here's like 1 Han, 2 Han, 3 Han, so they're all have values, and once you get to 8 Han, it becomes Mangan, Yakuman, Do Yakuman, and then draw, which I'll get into. But so here's like Richi, win a hand after you declared Richi. So basically your hand has to be closed, all simples, fully concealed, seat wind, prevalent wind, dragons, Pinfu, which is I will describe that. Pinfu is like you have all sequences and your hand is closed. So your hand is closed, you have all sequences, and you have to have your winning tile be a completion of a sequence, but there were 2 possible tiles. So here in this one, 6 and 7 was your final sequence that you had to get. And so you could either have this 5 or you can have a 4. So that is the condition for Pinfu. Pure double sequence is like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 of the same tile group. Robbing a Khan is if another player calls a Khan, and that was the tile that you needed to win, you can still call it. That's like a weird condition that you can have. So you can call run off of Khans if it's your winning tile though. If it's something that something that you need for a sequence and you don't have and you're not 1 tile away from winning, you can't call it. After a Khan, so if you call a Khan and you draw your next tile and it's a winning one, that's a Yaku. Only for the 1 pin? Nah, it's for all types of Khans for this one. After a Khan, under the sea is you win by drawing the last tile. So all the tiles run out, just like man, I got a flashback from playing Yu-Gi-Oh when I drew all my cards and they all went to the graveyard and I lost. That's kind of you win by the last draw, and this is you win by the last discarded tile. And so these are very specific, like you can't really rely on these ones because like they're just kind of like very variable. It's like a nice added to your Yaku, like or your win condition. Ipatsu is like if you call Richi, so it's a bonus, like you can't really rely on it. And Ipatsu is if you call Reach and your next draw or someone else's discard, okay, wait, let me describe this again. Ipatsu means like, say I call Reach and I'm 1 tile away from winning. If somebody drops my next tile before my next draw, I get this Ipatsu. Basically meaning that I grab the tile, or my 1 before my next draw. No, it's not cheating. If you have a PDF of Yaku. I don't know what's up with my internet. I changed to Wi-Fi. My Ethernet's not working for some reason, but hopefully that's fine because I'm not doing anything crazy. Anyway, yeah, I was saying before I cut out that I like to find when I was first playing, I found like a hand that I really liked, and I would always try to get that. I'm trying to think. Your reversal Yaku times. Oh yeah, Dora. Okay, Dora is important. So, there's a lot of them. Some of the local Yaku, they're not in the game, so you don't really have to worry about them. Like these are ones that like are in only friendly matches. They're not in the ranked ones. That's fun, Lee. But yeah, so these local ones are just like friendly match ones, so they're not in ranks, so you don't have to really worry about it at all unless you're playing with other people. But even then, like nobody, it's mostly like house rules kind of thing. So they didn't explain Dora in the tutorial. Hold up. I got the where is it? I'm gonna go back to the tutorial real quick so I can show the freaking board. Hold on. Okay, see this area right here? So each round there's something called the Dora, which is basically like they turn over a tile right here. They're like kind of like a sectioned off area of the wall, which is just not shown here, but it's a sectioned off area, and whatever tile comes after the tile that they flip over at the beginning of each round, if you have that in your hand, it's an extra point. So so if you have like, this is not really easy to understand one because it's red dragon, but say like 1 pin was the tile up here. If you had 2 pin in your hand, that's an extra point for you. And so you don't really have to worry about that in the beginning, because Mahjong Soul kind of does a little shiny thing on it, on the Dora tile. But know if you have that tile in your hand, it's an extra point. And so that's why in this area, Wenhan is having a Dora. So right here, this 3, if you have this 4, that's an extra tile, it's an extra point for you. And same right here, there's like 1 5 in each suit. That's a red one. That's also 1 extra point for you. Don't worry about these. These are 3-player Mahjong, or the local ones. And so there's like other, I won't go into Tuhan ones, but I will go into some Yakuman ones because they're fun. But like Tuhan is like having all 3 triplets, or having 3 cons, having all triplets, having 3 concealed triplets. So these are harder to get, but they're worth more. It kind of rewards you for going for harder hands, but also don't go for them if you don't think that you can get them. You're trying to also win fast, but also win with a big hand. That's kind of the goal, but also going for 1 hand in the beginning is fine, like you're learning. Having little 3 dragons, which is like having 2 groups of dragons and then 2 of the other one. Having all terminals and honors is also 7 pairs, which I always somehow get. It's basically one of the ones that do not obey the conventional rules of having groups of 3 and a pair. Instead, you have all pairs. Like, that's still a valid hand. There's other ones like pure straight. So yeah, it's like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And so these ones you can kind of remember later on. Oh, thank you, Ring around Josie, for following. Yeah, you could probably go through these in your spare time. They're thank you. I'm glad it's been helpful. So I'm gonna go through some Yakuman ones, which are a lot of points. Blessing of Heaven, win to hand by Sumo as dealer in the first turn of the first draw. So basically, you're a dealer, you're East, and you already have basically your winning hand, and your next draw, which is your first draw, is your win. That's a Yakuman. So I've never seen this before. I've never seen this hand ever in my life. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen to me, but it's kind of silly. I kind of like it. Blessing Earth, win a hand by Sumo as non-dealer, so that's just if you're a non-dealer. Yeah, it's fun. In Yakuza, like for the chi or for declaring reach, I think you have to press a button for it to pop up, which is kind of inconvenient, but it's still good. Pick 3 dragons, so win a hand with 3 triplets or quads of all 3 dragons. Yeah, so you gotta know that you have one more tile to win. 4 concealed triplets, so basically having 4 triplets in your hand, and they're all closed, so they're not outside. All honors, win a hand with all 4 triplets and a pair of honor or win tiles. All green, which I always want to get, but it's kind of hard. Like, it's like all of the only with green colored tiles, and that's kind of hard because like you'd think also is relevant, or all of the so could be valid for this, but see here how this 9 has red in it. Basically looking at the appearance, I think 5 and 7 also have red on them. I think, yeah, 5 has it, 7, what other ones? Yeah, 5 and 7 have red on them, so you can't have those in your all green hand. All terminals, again, all of these. 13 orphans, this is my favorite one. It's having each one of the 13 terminal tiles plus any tiles that matches one of them. So 1 9 1 9 9. So this is the any tiles that matches one of them part. 1 9 and all the rest of them. That's my favorite one. 4 little winds, having all of the winds and a pair of the 4th wind. 9 gates is pretty cool too. Like, I totally skipped over the 4 quads because, you know, 9 gates is 1 1 1 1 mon 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 9 9. So this is kind of interesting because it's valid. It's a valid hand. So because these 3 here, these 3 ones is a group of 3. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then this pair of 9s, but it can also go the other way. And it's kind of interesting that I've never gotten this one either, but it's pretty cool. And so these are local Yaku. It's not in ranked. So yeah. Oh, and draw is like, if the so these are kind of like you don't really have to worry about them either, but they're kind of funny to know. If like the first tile that everybody drops down is north, then you have to start over and redo all the tiles. Do Mahjong players check off a list like how many they have gotten on them? The Mahjong Soul, well, some people do that, but Mahjong Soul does that right here. So I haven't used, this is my new account. So if I go into 3-player, because I play 3-player more than I play the other ones. It doesn't have to be Norths. Really? I always thought it was Norths. I learned something new today. The same wind tile. Oh, I see. Same wind tile. I always thought it was Norths, but that's interesting. I've been losing out on draws. I see. Thank you, Zumi. Oh, I learned something new today. Oh, skipping this. Yeah, but I play 3-player mostly because it's fast and I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, like they have like little things here. And this is my new account, so I don't have that much. 13 orphans is something I want. I could have sworn I got 13 orphans on this one, but I don't think so, actually. But yeah, this is Mahjong. I might open up a room if anyone wants to play. East only. I'll give everyone time. North is most common only because it's least helpful intel. That's what I think too. Like it's just not. It's not helpful. That's what I do too. I like drop the. I drop the north too. Anyway, I put the link. Put the link in the chat. We do friendlies. Yes, you can. Zimi, are you Nina? I think I have you. I think I have you added on my other account. I get official help. Official help from Nina. You're Jimmy. Jimmy. Welcome, welcome. We do friendlies.